One day, I was taking a girl from the city to the village to visit her grandmother, who was not feeling well. The long road forced us to stop 30 km from the city. Since there was a highway, and the girl was shy, she decided to go into the woods. The next half hour was just grim. I was waiting for her in the car. 8 minutes passed and I got worried. Went after her, but the girl is nowhere to be found. Jitters rolled through my legs and arms. In convulsions, he took a mobile phone and began calling her. 13 minutes have passed between the events. As a result, during this time, I managed to go far into the forest because I was running and looking for her. As a result, after 10 minutes, I suddenly received several messages that such and such a subscriber called you. Then, there is an incoming call from a girl. She was the first to say, they say if she met a friend, she could call him into the car and not go into the woods to chat. I told her that I was alone and had been looking for you for half an hour. She said that she was waiting for me for an hour and saw me go into the woods with some guy who still put a friendly hand on my shoulder. In general, I can't comment on this story anymore. But I learned from friends that devilry often happens on this road. 3 months later, on the 19th, a man went missing almost at the same place, leaving the car running. Objects, oddly enough, can store information about their owners. And especially this information is strong when the object was or became at some time an artifact that people, collectors, found. There are many real cases when the owners of these found things can manifest themselves, or the energy from the object will begin to affect the new owner. There is a category of people who are passionate about archaeology. Well, if for scientific purposes, but there are black diggers who dig in order to find treasure, gold, valuables, or objects that have a sufficient price in a certain market, even sometimes up to several million conventional monetary units. The decorations were, and still are, the most iconic and mystical in this series. A ring, bracelet, tiara, earrings, chain can forever change the life of a new owner if this person starts wearing it and considers it already his own, especially if this jewelry was associated with a deceased person. At the time of death, this object was on this person and still has some kind of energy that a person does not even know about. He guesses. There is a procedure for cleansing found objects, but it is not always effective since prayer, ablution in holy water, acids, and other media will not harm information that has a completely different physical level. They say that objects have a memory. This is the real truth. Once I had an unpleasant episode in my life, after which I stopped doing something. 1998, winter. The guys in the yard are kicking some kind of piece of iron, playing war. At that time, I was returning from the store with groceries or from work, home. I don't remember exactly. They had already all run home. As it was getting dark, I looked at what they were kicking. It turned out to be a broken, with a crack, German helmet, field, winter, quite massive, painted with light paint. These can be seen in the Chronicle of the War, when German soldiers are shown in winter when they masked their helmets by painting them white. There were no internal straps, balaclava, just a metal helmet. I decided to take it, put it in the basement, storeroom. In order to study, maybe I could find the year of manufacture. At that time, I already had several items in the storeroom. An iron cross from 1939, which was found while digging a trench, a metal buckle of the Wehrmacht, and a corrugated pencil case from a 1944 gas mask, which was in perfect condition. It took some time. 2 years, probably. These items were in the pantry. One day, my friends at school talked about such things. I told my friends that I had. They asked me to bring them to the next session. they were interested. And anyway, as it turned out, it's all sold to collectors on the hump. I decided that I would bring it. When it came time to get ready for the next study session, I decided to renovate a little, to touch up this helmet, since there was green paint. That's where the joke started. In the evening, when I went down to the basement, opened my pantry. There was a light, a table, paint. Began to sandpaper my helmet, removing the old paint. Suddenly, I see that a man's eyes looking at me through a crack between the walls of the pantry, and the face was even visible, sunken, high cheekbones, gray, earth, colored skin, light brown hair, slightly reddish, dark eyebrows. The gap was wide enough, 5-6 centimeters. Probably. I was petrified by what I saw and decided to put the helmet on the table. Carefully left the pantry and decided to look at this man. Who could it be? After all, there could be no one else in the basement but me. I was there alone. 100. As the padlock is hinged, I opened it myself. I tiptoe out of my closet and carefully, leaning my hand on the wooden walls of the neighbors' storerooms, I look into the corridor between the sections of the storerooms, where this gap between the boards was. There stands and looks at me. A tall, thin man in some kind of cape canvas. Like a tent cloak, he is already turned completely to me. His face is kind of strange. The eye sockets are dark. I can hardly see the eyes. The light was dim enough. This hallway was illuminated by a basement window, which was dirty. There was no light bulb in this hallway, or it burned down a long time ago. Then this object turned its back on me and floated away into the darkness of the corridor. Went almost into darkness, as if it had dissolved into it. That's when I got really scared. I ran out without even closing the basement. Only after a while, I went in there with a powerful flashlight, studied everything. There was no one. He locked the doors, took out all the artifacts from the storeroom, and put them in a bag to take them to Moscow. At the Gorbanov DC market, they just almost grabbed it with their hands. Then, when I sold it, I realized that I could sell everything several times more expensive. I bought something home for my little daughter and my wife, and I still have some money left. After that, the desire to collect such things disappeared.